BrawlGangRadio.com. Take over. Last mission. Final boss mode.
Like, very comical. I don't know who thought that was a good idea, but all of them should have been slapped for it because that was just a terrible idea altogether.
Well, shit, I thought it was a terrible idea back in 1998. Never mind 2020. Saying this shit. I mean, that shit was crazy. Like, pretty much, it was motherfuckers working themselves into a shoot. It's just like, I was like, why? Like, it's all because of Vince Russo wanted to teach a wrestler a lesson. So yeah, having legit.
It didn't make any sense, and the only one that had any sense about it was Jim Cornette, because he knew it wasn't going to work. Especially, and the one thing he didn't talk about, because he's talked about this when he's talked about how stupid the Brawl for All is other times. The one thing he didn't even say about in this documentary when they were talking about it on this episode was, you spent years telling people wrestling is fake, wrestling is scripted, but now all of a sudden you're going to have them go fight for real and say, oh, everything else we did is fake, but them fighting right now, no, this is for real. Like, nobody's going to believe that shit. How are you going to believe that shit is real when you spent years telling us, oh, no, this shit is fake. Oh, but now it's real. Like, get the hell out.
Wait. What are y'all niggas talking about?
The Brawl for All that happened in wrestling in 1998. Basically, in wrestling at that time, they did this angle where they had wrestlers that basically sign up to fight each other for real. And they made it like a shoot where the winner, like who would actually win, and they were fighting for real, would win a prize. And so they were scheduling these fights every week where these guys they put them in gloves, and they judge them like it was a boxing match. And then you get points for a knockdown, and you get points for taking people down. So they did it like a mix of boxing and MMA, but it was terrible. And it didn't help anybody, like elevate anybody. They thought, oh, this will help elevate somebody. Like, it's not gonna help elevate anybody because it looks so stupid.
Yeah, and the problem is too, because you have wrestlers who are clearly on the gas. So motherfuckers go one round and they're already blown up. They're breathing.
So why y'all? This is 1998. What made y'all niggas bring that shit up?
Because they have on Viceland, on TV show, they have this documentary series, this wrestling documentary series called Dark Side of the Ring, and every like on every episode they bring up like a controversy or a tragedy that happened in wrestling, on inside or outside. And this week's episode was talking about the Brawl for All and how bad it was. So that's why we're talking about it.
It was it's boxing related. Like I said, you see wrestlers who didn't have any hand skills except for Park Gunn. I
would have liked to get the memo for this topic. Like,
I mean,
you know what y'all niggas talking about, but I'ma fall back. Yeah, y'all talk that shit out.
But the thing is, like, the reason why it doesn't make sense because you could obviously tell that these guys don't know how to fight. So it doesn't look aesthetically pleasing. So even if the winner, you're going to present him as a badass, it's obvious that none of those guys can fight. So, okay, you're a badass. A bunch of other people that don't know how to fight. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's not like boxing. Like, people that don't watch boxing don't realize how hard it is to beat people up while making it look aesthetically pleasing at the same time. Because boxing has spoiled us to where we see the art and the skill of fighting. It's like, I can't go back to watching World Star Hip Hop backyard fights because they look so stupid and sloppy and like, get the fuck out of this shit. Because I know better.
A fight's a fight. Like, I always watch a fucking fight.
Right.
I don't get it.
Yeah, but in this particular case with the Brawl for all, because the wrestlers are roided up and they gassed out, and on top of that, they're tearing everything. They're tearing their biceps. They're tearing their hamstrings. There's some of them again neck injuries because they're taking shots for real, and they're all roided up, and they're not meant to take shots.
It was a terrible idea. And then the grand finale of all terrible ideas, they had the winner who ended up being Bart Gunn. He won the whole thing. They had him fight at WrestleMania in an actual boxing match against Butterbean.
Yeah,
and he ended up getting knocked out in 13 seconds.
Yeah, that was the one I used for one of my nightly knockouts to show what happens when even someone who's known as a joke in boxing, who actually trains does to someone who does not train. They get knocked out.
Yeah, but I don't agree with what they were saying in the documentary about they didn't want Bart Gunn to win, so they punished him by putting him in the ring against Butterbean to get him knocked out. I don't believe that. Honestly, I think that's giving them too much credit. And honestly, the way I look at it is, and it's funny because I just watched Jim Cornette talk about it, and he talked about the whole thing afterwards, like his review of after watching it, and what he basically said what I had thought the whole time when people said, "Oh, they did that to punish him." No, I don't believe that they did that to punish Bart Gunn. I truly believe that because WWE doesn't know much about fighting or like actual fighting, especially boxing, because they've worked with Butterbean before, so they've used him so they figured that, I think that they thought, because, us being boxing fans, and I remember Butterbean when I was younger, and Butterbean, and I don't know about you guys, but I know in my family and the people that I knew that watched boxing, Butterbean was looked at as a joke. He was looked at
as a joke. But the funny thing is, but Butterbean actually has like actual opponents.
Yes, but like that's what I'm thinking. Like I think that they just thought, oh, Butterbean is a gimmick fighter, and that if we could put Bart Gunn in the gym to train for a couple of months, he could be competitive with
And that wasn't
with Butterbean. But because they don't know fighting or actual boxing, they don't realize that even though Butterbean is a gimmick boxer, he actually has boxing experience. And to be competitive with somebody like Butterbean would take years of training, not just a couple of months to train. Like, that was just a terrible idea from the get-go. And show why.
Yeah, like I said, and then watching that whole Viceland commentary, that whole documentary, you know, that's brought back so much. I was like, yeah, this was a bad idea. Wrestlers' careers got ruined. Some of them had to retire because of the injuries, and the winner pretty much, you know, because the WWE was like, nah, we can't put him in the main event role. He wasn't supposed to go to the main event role. You know, they had to get rid of him because he fucked up some plans. You know, it's basically when carnies become too carny for their own good, you know, and they get that. You know, Loki, that's like one of my favorite things to watch on TV these days. And because next week I gotta do when Jimmy Snuka murdered his girlfriend, in which he legit murdered his girlfriend.
Oh, yeah.
How that motherfucker did not do 1 day in prison is beyond me, but I can't wait to watch that shit.
Vince McMahon covered for him. That's why.
Yeah, of course they did. Yeah, because you know, when wrestling, you know, when you believe wrestling is real, the judges, aka the marks, are like, oh, okay, so he's a savage. So okay, I think that's what probably happened. But if you slip like a 6-figure amount, you know, in my palm, maybe we'll make this go away. You know, shit was crazy. You know, I've never seen anything like it. But Jimmy Snuka walked away free because wrestling was still a circus atmosphere back then. Oh my God! Yeah, pro wrestling has some fuckery in it. I gotta say.
It was the same thing that happened with Bruiser Brody, and that's how they were able to get away with the murder in Puerto Rico. Because especially in Puerto Rico back then, they really believed that wrestling was real. So all they had to do was basically just convince the jury that, you know, Bruiser Brody was that wild person that he was playing up on TV, and they believed it. So they believed the whole self-defense thing.
Yeah, exactly.
But I was gonna say, Butterbean looks terrible these days. Like,
Butterbean. I honestly, I didn't, because I was wondering what happened to him. Because I know the last time I saw him, he was like these MMA fights, and he was getting worked. Like niggas were kicking his legs out and shit like that. Like niggas were beating him down. Like I was like, damn. And now you see him like he's walking with a cane. Like he looks like he's aged a lot. And
Yeah.
I don't know if and it looked like he was kind of shaking a little bit. I don't know, but
he was shaking. He was shaking quite a bit.
yeah, and like I said, 'cause that motherfucker had a lot of 4-round fights. You know what I'm saying? Like Butterbean was boxing. He was
king of the 4-round.
Yeah, like I remember I was seeing this motherfucker catch feet to the fucking head in some of those fights. Like they were lining his ass up. Yeah, this motherfucker. Yeah, I was like, why is he walking with a cane? Yeah, but yeah, like he was walking mad unsteady. I was like, so that's why you haven't heard of Butterbean and what? I figured he would have been in the fucking movies or some shit. But nah, you know, but because he was in a fucking Jackass beating down Johnny Knoxville for real.
Yeah, I remember that.
You know, but yeah, it's a shame though. It's a shame when you see even someone like Butterbean clearly suffer from the effects of too many fights. You know.
Well, that's what happens. You're a gimmick fighter. Got to keep the gimmick going as long as possible.
Yeah, I mean, you may beat the bums, but sometimes those bums will fight back. And if you get enough bums hitting you, well, you get that.
Very true.
Oh man, but yo, yeah. So yeah, podcast for today. Definitely talk about Canelo Triple G3, and then. Do you want to talk about the RZA premiere battle, or do you want to talk about the retrospective of Castillo Corrales?
I mean, why not both? I don't know how much time we're gonna have, though. Actually.
Yeah, I guess why not both?
Yeah, sure.
Y'all niggas done talking about fucking make-believe fights and wrestling and shit now. We're talking about some real shit.
I mean, there was, but
I come on time and then y'all niggas have a whole conversation without me. Goddamn, like hold on, like y'all niggas might get the fade now. Fuck a Southern hospitality. Y'all niggas come down here.
Oh god.
Had to listen to damn 10 fucking minutes of damn wrestling shit.
Well, no, but we were talking about when wrestling tries to be real and how terrible it looks when motherfuckers try to. This is why motherfuckers shouldn't try to be real. Like,
yeah,
that's why niggas don't talk about fake shit on the real talk.
Well,
radio.
Real talk.
Real talk. We know what happens when you get fake shit. What you gotta do?
Hold on, we gotta show y'all. You know what happens when you cross that line. It's a thin line.
Honestly, LV, you
hopscotch on the line.
LV, you'd probably enjoy that episode because, like I said, wrestlers were really legit getting beat down. They were beating each other up in this thing. I mean, you probably enjoy it, and you get to see how
everything.
I vaguely remember that shit because the thing is, around '98, that's when I started getting out of wrestling. You know, life and other types of shit. You know.
Yeah.
Got in the way, and it's like, yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, no, that's like I said, that's fuckery. Like, I mean, we probably wouldn't talk about any other shit, but like I said, that was because it's boxing related, and it was real, and boxers were getting fucked up. Niggas were smoking J's and getting in the fucking ring to take shots. Like, no commission will allow that in real life. So it was pretty funny. Oh man. But yeah, so yeah, we could do all three topics, man. We could do, Canelo Triple G3, and then we can.
Let's do the Primo RZA shit first.
Okay.
I feel like the Corrales shit should be like last. I mean, I did rewatch it last night.
Ooh. All right, yeah.
Corrales Castillo. Damn, I don't remember it. Like, I remember it being better when I seen it the first time live, though. I don't know, like. Maybe I didn't see too many good fights since that time.
I don't know. That fight still holds up to me.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say I don't know about you. You can think that, but I think it still holds up really well.
It holds up, but you know what? We'll save it for the fucking because the way I'm about to sound, like we'll go right into that shit right now. So. So yeah, we'll say that till when we get to it. But if y'all wanna start up the Primo Bobby Digital shit.
Yeah, and then we'll go to Canelo Triple G3 discussion, then we'll go to the retrospective. Cool.
Yeah.